Live. Are we live? Are we live? Are we live? 2, 1. Welcome in and welcome back, all you Simpalo PowerHouse podcasters. We've come up with all kinds of weird names for people who watch the show and are in the fence industry. I think it'd be cool if people who are watching comment whatever they want to be called, like a funny nickname for our viewers, audience, people who do fence. I've heard fencers, fence men, fence man.
How about fence people?
Wow, way to go PC with it.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that from you.
First time in my life.
That's cool.
That's a good idea. Comment what you want to be called.
As a fence
and whoever wins gets nothing.
As fencers, we have a debate going. I'm involuntarily involved in a debate about whether or not fence or fencing.
No, fencing is sword fighting.
Right.
That's ridiculous.
Right. So that's the debate.
Look it up.
Dante is
it's a sport
hardcore against. Yeah, if you search fencing, I don't know what. If you Google fencing, you get swords.
You get swords because that's what it is.
Right. Okay.
We install fence.
Okay, moving on forward. Welcome back to the show, which I said brought to you by Memphis Fence Company, MFC
now
Manufacturing. Easy. Simpalo, of course, all of that's up at here. You can do .coms at the end of all those things and find it probably. So
maybe we're not sure. They're out there somewhere though.
So thanks for everybody for tuning in. We got a couple of new listeners across the world. I see we have France is now represented and Germany, in addition to South Africa.
Yeah.
And Belgium.
Yeah.
And where else?
Canada.
Was
Italy,
that a country?
but that's kind of cheating. I still think that was just Ilaria.
Just Milan. There's another city. That's not me.
Oh, so we actually do have someone else in Italy.
2 cities in Italy?
Wow.
Yeah, that's it. That's all we have.
Is there a whoop-de-doo sound on the dashboard over there?
Yeah, give us some cool sound effects
for
like a celebration.
2 in Italy. You got anything?
Yeah,
just push some, see what happens.
All right. That was the sound. At least it wasn't crickets, right?
That's my favorite.
So again, I'm Zach, the other host. Here's Dan, the host. We're here. Back.
We're live.
We are live, so you can call in.
Here's a phone number.
What is
every time? Oh my goodness. 901-878-4987. Nailed it.
901-878-4987. Help us reach those numbers. We've got a lot of people out there.
What do you envision just happened when we read the phone number? You think somebody
hold on, let me get my pen and paper.
Over and got their pen and paper out to write it down? It's on the screen. If you're watching it live,
right,
you got to see it, right?
Yeah, I was gonna do like a telethon bit, and you totally stepped all over.
Sorry,
just tromped on it. Neanderthal. This one.
Sorry.
All right, that's the number. One more time for those who did pull over. 901-878-4987. I wonder what the insurance agent thinks about people jotting down numbers while driving a car.
They definitely pulled over for sure.
It's not that kind of insurance, right?
I'm not the police.
All right, so we are live. So here's the breakdown of today's show.
Cool.
We're going to talk about the basics of insurance, what it is, what it does for you. We're hopefully going to learn a bit about all these different people involved, like the carrier, the broker, underwriter, adjusters, all of this. What are some minimum requirements? What we would typically see in like the commercial fence world, how we can control the cost of our insurance, and how we keep the insurance people happy, and what we need to provide them to do that, and kind of talk a little bit about what to do if you're changing your business and kind of how you should handle the insurance side of that.
Cool. I just want to interject from the kind of ground level. I'm in my truck. I'm installing fence. Now I've decided to get a business license, and someone has requested a COI from me, and I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to talk about is how to get into that, know what that means. And then eventually at the end of the episode, you should be able to know how to get insurance to the point where you could request a COI from somebody like our guest tonight.
So probably what you're going to know at the end of the episode is some more words. Maybe you learn a little bit, but
pull over, get ready to write.
I mean, there's a ton. I personally have dealt with insurance companies probably for about 10 years now,
Sure.
and I don't understand it still.
Right.
Like it's a bit complicated. So,
It's
anyways,
something you need to do jobs, though. I mean, that's
Yeah,
where
that's
we're
right.
at here.
That's
I
right.
mean,
can we introduce our guest?
hey, we have a guest.
Yeah, he's over there in the dark.
How's it going? I'm Charlie Pittard.
There we go.
I'm with PCR Insurance, local independent insurance agency here in Memphis. We do insurance for all kinds of. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
I do insurance for all kinds of contractors, commercial property, workers' comp, surety bonding. And I guess today we're gonna talk about what kind of insurance you need if you're an owner of a fencing company.
Yeah,
Which
Yeah.
is similar across the board for contractors.
or a fence company. So sword fighters or fence installers.
Yeah,
If you own swords and fight with, that's probably a different type of insurance.
it definitely is.
It's
Yeah.
not what we're talking
You
about.
need some different coverage for that. I
So
would
here's
think.
a circumstance where your definition of fencing really comes into play. Because if I call Charlie and say, "Hey, Charlie, of PCR, I need insurance for fencing,"
Mm.
and he's going to go and say, "Oh, it's fencing. I'm going to look it up online. I'm going to get people in white suits with masks and swords."
Yeah.
And he's going to sell me the wrong type of insurance.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean,
And look at
we'd
that.
have to find out if you in a fencing team or
Right. That's right. How long are the swords?
Right. Are they pointed or do they have a little safety tip?
Right, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
it's a lot of important questions. All
Okay,
right, what
let's
were you
get
saying before that?
serious.
Nah, it ain't time to get serious yet. We gotta wait till
Let's
we're
get
at least like
serious.
30 minutes in.
Oh crap! We're running out of time. Let's hurry up
Right.
and get the show
That's
underway.
right. That's right. So everyone missed you last week.
Oh.
Everyone that listened called me and said they missed Zach.
Hmm.
Yeah.
What was I doing? I was serving. Where's my camera tonight?
We're,
Hello.
yeah, no, I was
Hello,
trying to
people.
figure out which one to look at. I'm like, hold on.
When we have the guests, it's difficult to find out
Didn't
where
you-
I see you guys. I've found you guys. I've locked in. I've locked eyes.
Didn't
So
you have to like take the night off to go cook macaroni or something like that?
spaghetti. I
That's-
did. I attended an event at the school for the parent teacher organization at a local school here in Memphis because one of my children attends there. Mind you, I'm not just that good of a steward that I go and PTO at random schools. But yeah,
Well, you're
so
better than me because I refuse.
I know. That's what you
Yeah.
said. You should try it out. It's not that bad.
There's a whole story, but
Not that bad. Yeah, so we prepared, well, we served spaghetti. We set up a spaghetti dinner and served spaghetti, and this raises money for the school. And then the money is used. This one I think is going to be used to bring some arts into the school, like some performances in the auditorium of some dancers and stuff like that. So some kind of outside curriculum stuff we get to supplement the budget that the public school has, right?
Yeah.
Your kid would like it. That's the thing.
right. Yeah, that's cool. That's important.
Yeah, so I serve sling spaghetti,
Yeah,
slinging
so
spaghetti,
you serve spaghetti.
and you could imagine me. Well, I'll give you a little demonstration. I was competing with the other spaghetti slingers to be the best.
Here we go.
I was like, "Don't eat that guy's stinking spaghetti." I saw
And
him sticking his
now-
fingers in that spaghetti.
On this week's episode of Zach's 20-minute story.
Charlie didn't get it. I tell stories sometimes, and they last a bit longer than anticipated.
Well, I can't wait to hear what we got today.
I think that was Dan's cue to.
That's not.
Oh, I
Zip
thought
it.
we were going to hear about you having a competition about who.
That
can
was it.
serve
I
the
just,
most.
I antagonized the other parents serving
like a-
spaghetti,
Did you just turn me off?
No,
I'm sorry. Was I talking too much?
and I guess they not really, not everybody's attended an outdoor concert and walked through like a Grateful Dead shakedown lot.
Right.
That probably needs more backstory for some people.
Yeah,
but
we'll save that story for another
basically
episode.
heckled all the other parents and tried to show off, flex my spaghetti serving skills.
Mm.
Which
Did you have some experience in that?
serving tongs with spaghetti with tongs into a styrofoam container is a little bit more difficult than you would think.
Not everyone can do it.
You've got a special set of skills.
Right, that's right. See, now you guys have decided. Sounds like we're all in agreement. My spaghetti is the one to get.
We'll remember that.
Spaghetti.
So, can you say spaghetti for us, please?
spaghetti.
I put the emphasis on the wrong part of the word.
Yeah, you do. And that's
Dang it.
okay because I do too when I speak English.
Hey, you know what's funny? So I watched I watched a car video the other day, and this guy was reviewing an Italian car. And so he just started like making words in Italian. And I think like 2 or 3 or 4 times he was right. He just like put an I on the end of it and made it sound Italian, and it actually was the translation. It was
the
pretty
word
funny.
for that, cognate.
Cognati.
When
What?
cognate, it's when a word in English or two languages sound similar. The meaning or the pronunciation of the word is basically the same word.
I said
Like,
it in Italian
no.
for you.
You know,
That was amazing then. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. So we do this thing every week, Charlie, where we skipped over our old business. So we're still working on Job Nimbus. We got our QuickBooks integration done, and we are slowly progressing to the point where we can actually start using it. I did use it the other day on a little test run for an MFC manufacturing job, and it worked for that, but that was pretty simple. So we're still working our way through that. Do we have any other?
we used to talk about my added processes.
I know, but then you stopped added.
Well, we're just implementing them. So
Oh.
the folders I'm doing with the added information seems to be helping.
Mm.
But I mean, ultimately, still.
Didn't I hear today? Well,
We
if they
didn't have
ever
enough
told me what I
info.
was doing, I'd know what to take. This was from a guy who had an auger without an auger bit. So,
Oh, you
Is
know
that
what's
right?
funny is they came back later and like, never mind, the auger bit was on there the whole time.
okay.
We just thought it wasn't.
Wait.
Basically,
All
what
right.
you overheard was you could just sum it up with, we are really embarrassed right now.
Yeah.
We are very embarrassed. We made mistakes and need
Things
to
happen,
blame it
man.
on someone else.
You make mistakes.
I do.
We all make mistakes.
I do.
But it was a pretty funny
Some
thing
of them
to
result
overhear.
in me lying flat on your floor in your office.
Yeah, that happened yesterday, by the way.
I thought
Zach
thought
had
I
a heart
underbid it.
attack.
I thought I underbid the job by like 300%.
So, well, I'll just give you a little bit of tidbit of information. His price was a third of what I had previously
Right.
bid the job for.
That's right.
The fence was different. Like they changed
A
a bunch of
lot
stuff about the
different.
fence. And so
Took off the gates, took off the automation.
after we sorted out like
Ooh.
all the changes and everything, he was okay.
the
But
initial side by side was like almost
it was pretty
heart
shocking.
attack.
Yeah. He was honestly laying out on the floor in my office, like with his heart racing for a minute.
What
so.
are we going to do now?
All right, let's learn some Italian. So the word of the week is insurance.
Assic-
I want to guess. Insurance.
no, wrong.
I don't want to guess.
You want me to say it?
Yes, please.
Assicurazione.
What?
Do you want me to say it again?
Assicurazione.
So that sounds like assurance.
You have to try, Charlie. Get Charlie on the screen.
Say it one more
Charlie's going to
time.
try it.
Assicurazione.
Assicurazione.
Right.
We'll take it.
A cigarettione.
Right.
Say it again.
A cigarettione.
Wrong.
Do we have a wah wah? Yes,
Oh,
that's
nice.
sound.
Good job.
That's gonna be yours every time.
Just write Dan on that button.
Might as well.
All right. So
Cool.
we already introduced Charlie. You talked about your
PCR.
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 Kind of talked about what you do, all of that. Do you want to give any information about how somebody might find you should they want to?
My business number is 901-755-5526.
Oh, hold on. They have to pull over again.
Go ahead and pull over.
Yeah.
And then write my email down. There's charles@pcrins.com.
All right. And what areas can you write insurance in?
We can write anywhere.
In the country?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go.
So
Whoa. You okay?
Me too.
I know. I just see the cameras going. Toot, 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 toot. All right. So anywhere in the country, and what type of insurance? Like what? Do you write insurance for any business, or do you have like a kind of set type of business that you write insurance for, or just?
I mean, I do more construction than anything else.
Hmm.
But yes, we can write any type of business, and like for instance, you get referrals for all kinds of different businesses. Like you'll write a fence contractor, and his best friend owns a guitar shop.
Right.
And then you want to take care of his friend, and
Mhm.
so you end up insuring all kinds of stuff.
Is that how you get most of your business, through referrals?
That's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Somebody that already thinks you're doing a good job.
For sure.
But I mean, we do a lot of. Yeah, I've been in it for almost 11 years. I guess over 11 years now.
Cool.
And I've made thousands and thousands and thousands of cold
Dollars.
calls. Cold calls.
Dollars. Insurance is expensive.
But if you cold call someone for 7 years, it's
Right.
not really a cold call anymore.
Right.
So
Yeah. At that point, they have your number saved and they're like, oh.
there he is again.
Right.
Yeah. But
I will. So along those lines, I will say insurance people are the most persistent salespeople I've ever encountered in my life. Hands down. I don't know what it is. It's not just you. Like there are, I mean, across the board, it seems to be that every insurance person that I interact with, they're so persistent. And I mean, we have people call us all the time for, selling advertising and healthcare and, everything else. All of them, you're like, no thanks. And that's it. You never hear from them again. But an insurance person, you tell them no thanks. And then they're like calling 3 days later and you're like, wait a minute. Didn't we have this conversation? So it is interesting, the persistence that seems to be just like in the insurance industry. So,
well, I mean, you see a lot of people flame out.
Yeah.
So if they're not persistent, they don't make it.
right.
So
Yeah.
the persistent ones are the ones that are still employed.
Still there.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Exactly.
But that's always been kind of an interesting thing, that it seems to be, like I said, the most persistent group of people.
Or maybe they just want to call Memphis Fence.
Maybe they're just excited about writing insurance for a fence company. I don't know.
Yeah.
But all right. Do you want to talk any more about any of that, or
What's the weirdest request for insurance you've ever received?
Weirdest. Let's see.
Do you guys issue
Weirdest.
temporary policies, like for a music festival or something like that?
Yeah, we do that.
That's cool.
That's not
Crazy
strange.
at all?
I'm trying to think of strange here. I
Right.
mean, I've had
I'm a
bands,
clown and I
yeah.
want to take a snake to a child's birthday party.
Mhm.
Any of those?
I've never had that. Well, I mean, you have people that are entertainers,
Right.
bands,
are clowns,
Right.
but they're just clowns all the time.
People will, try to get policies for travel, and if they
Mhm.
get sick in Asia and stuff like that.
Ah, yeah. So
Um,
complicated.
Yeah, they're
Not so much just kind of off the wall.
Wait a minute. You get a policy for travel.
travel insurance.
What does that do?
Well, a lot of people's health insurance won't cover them here in America, or will only cover them here in America. So they travel and they get hurt or injured, they want to have a policy in place, depending on what country they go to.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I
See?
mean, and
That freaking insurance world. It's so
Yeah.
complicated.
they can cover luggage and
I never even thought about getting injured out
Right.
of the country and what
Right.
what if I go to Jamaica and break my leg on a zip line?
So next time you travel to North Korea, make sure you get your insurance first.
yeah, I think you just come home with a sling.
Yeah.
Right.
Worry about it over here.
I'm not
Right.
sure that they would.
Yes,
No,
I'll
I
take
don't think
those.
any insurance companies want to get involved in that.
I'll take those 2 sticks and a piece of torn up cloth you have there and limp on back home.
Yeah, I think that's your best bet.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm missing a kidney.
Oh, yeah. So do travel insurance policies cover organ replacement?
We need to pull out the policy and read it. I mean,
If so, is it prorated?
if you cancel it 6 months into the policy,
They're like, wait, your expected life or your life expectancy is 80 years and you're 40. So we're going to give you 50% of that organ's value. Is it like that?
I don't know how you put a price on an organ.
Good question. I don't know.
I don't think they pay actual cash value.
Mm.
This week on PowerHouse Fence, insuring your organs.
We're just sharing the important things in life. That's all.
Yeah, the actual cash value joke is really cheesy insurance person joke.
Oh,
I just made it.
that's why we didn't get it.
All the insurance people are
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
Oh,
all
he
cracking
did it.
up.
Yeah, if there was other
It's too available, man. You shouldn't have pulled that one out so soon.
exactly. Exactly. If we were around like 5 insurance agents, like they would have liked it.
So one thing that I always enjoy is like, and I don't know why. Maybe not enjoy. Yeah, let me back up. Can you rewind? Edit that part out. Oh, wait, we're live. So one thing that always fascinates me is hearing these like horror stories of claims, right?
All right.
And it's like, this happened and it led to like a $75 million settlement or some crazy stuff. Do you have any of those?
I don't have 75 million.
Well,
I did have a client that owns big trucks, and there was a double fatality. But
Way more morbid than I expected.
yeah, I know. It
But
kinda
we
got
did
dark.
go from organs to that, so I guess that's good.
I mean,
Nothing against you.
Yeah, that's
Nothing
probably the
against you.
biggest claim I've ever had.
Well, I mean, that one's probably
Just-
legit.
It was 2 18-wheelers head on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That sucks. Do you have any that don't have such a sad ending?
Well, you asked for the worst, so
Right.
I'm trying to think. It's not really. I mean, we have a lot of tornadoes around here. So in the last couple of years, we've had a lot of wind damage.
Yeah.
To commercial buildings. Here, here in the area, we get a lot of bodily injury and wrecks, where you'll have. I wouldn't say this is remotely rare. This is every day.
Well, I mean, there's like multiple large law firms in the city that
Right.
just do that.
I mean, I've got.
So there is maybe some actual data to support our drivers are in fact bad.
That's not where I'm going with this.
Or our courts are in fact, I don't even know what word to put there.
Biased?
Maybe.
Well, where I was going with it is you'll see. I've seen plenty of claims where one person rear ends another person, and both vehicles have minimum damage.
Yeah.
Almost none.
My neck,
And like
my back,
right,
my heart.
like the property damage on the claim will be like $300,
Right.
total, and then there's like over $1 million bodily injury claim because the person is like, this is my opportunity. And then the insurance companies will typically look at $1 million claim and settle it for 80,000, and they think they've done a good job adjusting that claim.
Sure.
And all these lawyers have kind of found that sweet spot where it's like, okay, especially if you're a commercial.
Yeah, they don't bat an eye at 80 grand. Hit them with the 80 grand, Tom.
Well, if the person sees that Memphis Fence or whomever on a truck, they're like, the lawyer's going to say, okay, well, this guy's got at least $1 million auto insurance. We're suing for $1 million, and there's a sweet spot there. Where,
that's when every day when these trucks roll out of the gate, I mean, I may as well just like go outside and put my head on a chopping block and see if somebody walks by to chop it.
I mean, that's accurate.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then, there's people in the world that like, I saw a Facebook post on one of these fence groups not too long ago where this guy was complaining because he's like, oh, we're out here doing all this work and like, we're not making all the money and da, 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 da. And I'm like, well, you're not taking the risk either.
Right.
Like,
I mean, it'd be hard to sleep at night before you have a Vinny coffee at 5 o'clock.
Right. You didn't make the investment. You haven't put all of these trucks on the road, and you don't take that risk every day when they roll out the gate. So like more risk, more reward kind of thing goes on, but
yeah, I think we're kind of getting into what the meat of that question is really about. It's like why should I be covered? Right. That's why the question was like a prod for circumstances where we're going to find ourselves in we really wish we had the right kind of insurance.
right.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's why you're asking about the mishaps, because
Yeah.
it's like, the guy who didn't know he needed this type of insurance, and then
Yeah,
thing happened to him.
Sorry. Thanks for reeling us back in.
That's right.
But yeah, so when the trucks are rolling, and I don't even think about that. I mean, I work here. I think about a lot of the inner workings of Memphis Fence Company, but I don't think about like, if the auger breaks and a hydraulic line happens to whatever hydraulic lines can do at super high pressure. I don't
Blow up.
you know what I mean, cause some damage to a home. Not how about that? We'll stop
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, I mean, we were only talking about auto insurance.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot.
We run a lot of big equipment. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, there's
I mean, what if you just like run a skid steer into the side
Side
of
of-
someone's house?
right. Oops.
Right.
Or just back the trailer down the driveway and just
Or you park the truck in a fast food restaurant and put it in park, and then you walk inside and you hear some noise behind you, and you look, and the truck rolled through the parking lot and hit 5 vehicles.
Or what if you accidentally forget to tie down a bag of Sackcrete and it falls off the truck on 240?
What?
Or what if your employee gets his arm cut off?
Right.
Always with the bad stuff,
know,
Charlie.
man.
Man,
You just like go to the max.
Jeez. But that's what his job is to let us know these are the possible outcomes here.
Right.
Well, I mean, if
I
you're
mean, right?
if you're a business owner, you don't have workers' comp,
Right.
which-
Because I'm out here like just started a business. Everything's gonna be beautiful. We're gonna be rolling in the dough. And Charlie's here to say, hey man, what if they're rolling the dough and they just roll their hand right into the pizza oven?
Yeah,
Right.
and if you don't have workers' comp, then you got to pay.
So there's these people that kind of, like get this exemption and like operate in that world. And
The owners.
oh yeah, get a workers' comp exemption.
And up
So
to 5 office people, is that right? Something like that?
They got to be.
Yeah.
They can't just be office people. They,
Oh, okay.
They have to be
part owner in the business. So like a partnership LLC, both partners could be exempt,
That's
but
right.
that's it.
That's right.
Okay.
Or you could be the treasurer.
Sure.
You got to be
On the board.
Yeah.
So if
okay.
you're a fence guy, and again, so this applies just to the state of Tennessee, right? Because that's what we're talking about. It's different in different states. Is that right?
Oh yeah.
So in Tennessee, if you're a fence guy, you can exempt yourself. And can you exempt one employee or no?
No.
Just yourself.
Correct.
Okay. So then people pay their employees with cash or pay them as 1099 employees, and then they get their arm squished in the pizza oven or whatever you said. And like, what happens in that scenario?
You need to have a workers' comp policy.
And if you don't,
Then that person is going to go hire a lawyer,
one of those big law firms we talked about earlier.
and they're going to sue you
Injured on the job?
Yeah, right.
for I mean, let's say they're 25 years old and they've got 40 more years of working years that you're going to get.
You're going to pay for.
You're going to pay indemnity for the rest of their working. I mean, if it's saying they can't work again, or
Right.
or if they can't do the same job they were previously doing.
So moral of that story is probably just get some workers' comp.
Drug test those fools and
Hope for
prove
the
that they
worst.
Well, yeah, a lot of people. There's a 5% discount on work comp if you file a Tennessee drug-free workplace, but a lot of people don't do it because they know that their employees.
Well,
gotta have
you can't-
employees.
You can't anymore.
Right.
You would just be showing up to work yourself.
That's why I'm just gonna
Yeah,
let that one just.
right. It should be like a 40% discount now. Because if you can find a whole crew of people that will all pass a drug test, then it's pretty good.
It's very good. Well, a lot of
you
people
should get an accommodation,
You
whatever that
should.
word is.
That's what I'm saying. It should be like a 40% discount.
We'll have a plaque.
Well,
Actual drug-free workplace. Oh no.
they tell you to drug test your employee immediately after they get injured
Yeah.
because many times that avoids the work comp claim altogether.
Yeah.
Because if they were on using something and they get hurt and you're like, all right, it's time to go get a drug test, the injury will go away.
I heard a story today from a general contractor that they had an employee who hit some sort of underground utility line. And so anytime there's an accident, incident, anything like that, the first thing they do is drug test them. And that guy immediately lost his job because he failed the drug test. And so,
Well, see, to counter that, a lot of the time when the person that was a general liability claim.
yeah.
Okay. Well, a lot of times on the workers' comp claim, when they tell them to go get the drug test, they just all of a sudden they're not hurting anymore.
Yeah. Right.
Oh.
Actually, that shoulder's not that
That's
bad.
fine.
Yeah.
That's good.
I didn't need that one.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. So let's try to get through this list. We are at 30 minutes, so now it's time to get serious.
Let's get down to business.
All right. So
I don't know why I said that like Batman.
I said before we get into the insurance, that doesn't really apply anymore. Yeah. So we've talked a lot in the past few weeks about relationships. We had the banker on, we had one of our suppliers on. Relationships are a very important thing. And I've said it before and I will say it again. Have someone you can pick up the phone and call.
Right.
That's
But
right.
as you
I-
mentioned earlier, your insurance agent's probably already calling you.
Well, that's true. But you don't want, I personally don't
Do
like.
you call yourself an agent or an adjuster? You're both.
I'm not an adjuster.
You're not
No, I'm an agent.
agent.
See, we're
Okay,
going to learn
sorry.
about those terms
Whew.
here in a minute, I think.
See? Oh, okay. I'm
'Cause-
skipping ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't call me adjuster.
So have an insurance agent that you can pick up the phone and call. I don't like the idea of like going through one of these online kind of things. I don't know if there's any that work for the fence industry, but there are some online insurance stuff that you can do in the commercial world. I don't like that. And like you want to find somebody local, or I mean maybe not even local, but somebody you can at least pick up the phone and call. So I have a question here. What is insurance and what does it do? Like, what is a real fundamental explanation of insurance?
I mean, insurance is the pooling of everyone's risk together to pay for everyone's losses.
So we take a large group of people, put a portion of their money into a big bucket, and that's what pays for the few people who have losses,
That's right.
in theory.
So
And then the insurance companies keep the rest.
the insurance companies find a way to make money. Hopefully,
Yeah.
they don't always make money.
Mm.
They haven't. You know, it's been a rough couple of years for insurance companies. Actually,
Right.
We are in a tough market right now.
Yeah.
I think pumping $7.5 trillion into the economy caused massive inflation, and insurance pays for everything, right? So if anything happens,
Yes.
every claim is much bigger now because everything is much more expensive.
So it probably takes some years for that to like get called up and equalize, right?
I mean, I don't think we've ever seen anything like
Yeah.
what COVID did
Right.
before. So the insurance markets, like let's just say whatever you're paying in insurance in 2019.
I have to bite my tongue. I can't put my tinfoil hat on the show.
I didn't bring mine.
Well, in 2019, whatever it was probably pretty accurately priced, right?
Sure.
Well, then 2020, 21, 2, all these packages get, Congress starts printing all this money. Well, the insurance, let's just say the insurance markets are going up 5 to 8% every year on renewals. Well, all of a sudden, that's not enough money to pay for everything. That's all the additional costs of inflation.
Mhm.
And so now everything is way more expensive to replace or rebuild or.
Right. Which an easy example is like buying a new truck. I bought
Yeah.
a new truck like I don't know what year that was, but recently, and one that would have, a few years ago been valued at about 12,000. Now it's about 28,000.
Yeah, exactly.
But I've been paying rates for a $12,000 vehicle essentially to kind of.
You know what's fun? I recently made a change on a personal auto insurance deal, and this car. Well, I looked it up because I put the car in the company's name, right? So I looked up the book value. It was $4,450 is what the book value was. You want to guess how much I was paying in auto insurance a month on that thing? You might know the answer.
in physical damage or liability.
Like the whole thing.
$279 a month.
No, it was like $305 a month. I was like, wait a minute.
See, I go Price is Right rules. I don't overbid. I did pretty good.
What kind of truck was it?
It was a car, a little like one of those little mini SUV things.
We don't disclose vehicle make and model now either. In case
I
they're after
personally
you.
don't. Yeah.
Tinfoil hat. You can tell.
You'll never see
Don't tell them what type of vehicle Dan drives.
Well, the question would be, what kind of MVR do you have?
Good.
Well,
It was crazy.
Well,
So
that's-
when I called to cancel with the person that was writing the insurance, I called, a lady was on the phone. I was like, hey, I want to cancel this auto policy. And she says, all right, what was it? I was a little late.
I had some more coming. Sorry.
Oh, so I told her what it was and she goes, okay. I was like, I really expected this to be more difficult. She said, nah, I see how much you were paying for it. I'd cancel it too.
Good
so-
job.
Yeah. I was like, all right, cool. See you.
wow.
But all right. So insurance is required.
For PCR, right? So she's
No.
not fired.
No.
I mean,
It-
I think she did the right thing.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think it was cool. I was like, all right, I
Oh.
appreciate that.
We kind of peered behind the curtain with the banker and presented Kirk as not just a banker, and he's actually a person behind there.
Yeah.
And it sounds like Charlie might also be a human being who's not
Maybe.
just trying to sell you an inflated insurance policy. Is that true?
No, I'm not a human. I'm a computer.
Yes, does not compute.
Yeah,
I can't answer that question.
Yeah, you're causing a glitch.
But I mean, your comment was like, yeah, it sounds like she did the right thing.
Yeah,
You were
Yeah.
paying too much. She recognized it. We're still human beings. We
Yeah.
got to do this service. I just think, in kind of the general population, bankers, insurance
These
agents
chairs
get
suck.
kind of a crappy rap, like
yeah, I'd say for whatever reason,
maybe
yeah,
it's just because,
they have preconceived notions.
right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I mean, I would say in this area, most of my competitors and most of the insurance people in this town are all pretty good.
Cool.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, they are. So
So I have on here that insurance is required for us to do work. We've kind of talked about that a little bit. Like, you don't need to be out there trying to do something and have a situation where it would be a claim if you had insurance and like you're paying for it the rest of your life. That doesn't work out well. And insurance does, yes, that would be great, Aloria. So insurance, it's not cheap. I complained how these chairs suck, and she asked if I wanted a pillow. I didn't know that was an option. Yeah, so insurance isn't cheap, but I mean it is important. It's necessary.
It's cheap if you need it.
In comparison,
Well,
it's pretty cheap. Yeah.
Yeah, if it's cheap if you need it.
Right.
It's expensive if you never need it and you're just looking at bills and you've never had a problem.
Right. Yep. So, all right. Who are the people? So, can you kind of give us a breakdown of like I have listed here: carrier, broker, underwriter, adjuster. Like you hear all of these different insurance people.
Insured.
Yeah. So we are the insured.
You're the insured.
Right.
Yes.
So, can you kind of give us a breakdown of like who they are and kind of maybe just a little dab about what they do?
I guess I could start with like what we do.
Okay.
We are, like you look at a sports agent and they're representing a player. They're trying to negotiate the best deal with if you're Shaquille O'Neal's agent, you're trying to get him as much money from the Lakers as possible.
Mhm.
But you also want to have a good relationship with the Lakers because
You might have another player.
maybe get another player from them because they're like, oh, he's done a great job for Shaq.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he'll do a good, so it's important to keep good relationships with both sides. If that makes sense.
Right.
So for me, I'm trying to have a good relationship with my clients who are the insureds, but I also want to have a good relationship with the insurance companies. So whenever they see my phone call, they're like, oh, Charlie, he's going to be bringing me a good account and he's not going to be lying on the applications about what's going on. He's always honest, answering the questions correctly, and he's pleasant. He's not going to be yelling at me for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
So basically you want to have a good relationship with them.
There's that word again.
Right.
Yeah, we talk about it a lot.
Yeah, we do.
That's my cue to enter the word integrity.
That's right.
Ethics.
Right. I mean, let's just say I did something like loss runs. Dan knows what loss runs are.
Yeah, but the people listening may not.
Right. So let's just say, okay, you want me to educate you on loss runs? I know we're getting off track here, but basically, like if you're doing personal lines, they have reports that are run and they can see everybody's losses. If you're just getting a quote with commercial lines, you have to request loss runs from the carrier. It's a pain, and it probably is backwards how it's done, but it's just the way that it's done.
So it's kind of like your credit history almost, but from the insurance world.
It'll say what company you're with and how long you've been with them and what claims have happened while you've been with them.
And it shows you the amounts of all the claims and all of that stuff, right?
Open, closed.
Yep.
So, let's just say I didn't get loss runs and I was getting a quote from a company and I'm like, the guy told me that there's no claims. And first of all, the insurance company's not going to like me for trying to get a quote without loss runs. They're going to move that to the bottom of the pile. But let's just say I really pushed them. I was like, hey, like he doesn't have losses. He's told me he doesn't have losses. Let's get quoted up. And then we quote it up. We go present it, get the business, and then we get the loss runs. And it's like he's got $700,000 worth of losses. Well, the insurance company's going to look at me, the agent, and be like, what have you done to us?
Right.
And so then all of a sudden that insurance company is not going to like me.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to,
You just got
you
blacklisted.
get blacklisted.
Yeah.
Right.
Move you to the special accounts division.
Yeah. Special assets division.
Special assets.
Yeah.
That was the banking term for people who have that kind of history.
Right. People they want to get rid of.
Well, yeah, right. I mean,
Right.
but with that being said, you want to provide honest and complete information to them. Because if you do that over a period of time, they're like, okay, we can trust this guy. He's consistently been honest and consistently done what he's needed to do for us. So when he calls, we're going to drop what we're doing to help him get this quote, because he's probably going to be a good opportunity for us. Whereas the person that's lied to us 6 different accounts in a row,
Yeah.
they're going to be like, all right, what's the story here? Like what's next?
Yeah. So the special assets in banking is called assigned risk in the insurance world.
Aha. There we go.
Right.
We've been
So
there.
based on the loss report.
Yeah.
Well, that's for work comp, the state pool.
Okay.
Nobody else will insure you. The NCCI will.
Yeah.
And it's expensive.
Yeah. You pay for it.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna sleep fine tonight. Just saying.
So I don't even know how many different types of insurance we have. I know, like I listed out here: general liability, workers' comp, auto, excess. We have equipment coverage, property coverage. We have property of others,
Cyber liability.
Yep.
Employment
practices.
Yep.
Yeah. There's some professional something.
Errors and emissions.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you've been requested that before?
Mm-hmm. I have it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why, like, for instance, let's just say there's a company who's doing fences, who's been doing small jobs for a while that have not required a COI. And all of a sudden, you were talking about this earlier, COI certificate of insurance.
There we go.
Let's just say they call, one of my customers was like, hey, this guy needs to get insurance. And they'll call me and I'll say, who's requesting you get insurance? And they'll say St. Jude or whoever it may be. And then what I will say is, I'll say, send me a copy of their requirements.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I could sit here and quote general liability and workers' comp, and then we'll submit it to St. Jude, and St. Jude will come back. And I'm not to name drop them, but just does it matter? But
we have no idea.
But let's just say, so we'll submit it, and then all of a sudden they come back and they're like, we need 7 more types of insurance. So I always just say, send me the contract of whoever's asking you for that insurance, because that'll save us a lot of steps and a lot of back and forth.
Yeah. So that's USL&H.
Yeah. That was from when you were doing the fence job on the bridge. Which river was it?
The Wolf River.
The Wolf River. Okay.
Yeah. So USL&H is, what is it called? Like
Longshore Harbor.
Yeah. Longshore and Harbor Master. Is that something like that? Either way. So United States? Is that the US?
Yeah, that's the US.
Okay. All right. So you gotta, you can correct me if I'm wrong, right? But if you're working over a navigable waterway, then you have to have USL&H insurance. And if there's a workers' comp claim that happens above that navigable waterway or in it, then USL&H benefits apply to the workers' comp claim, which are much higher than most states.
Like a pay scale, but for insurance benefits?
You have to activate the USL&H endorsement on your policy.
Yeah, which is like a whole nother thing.
It increases the cost. Whatever the rates went up.
That one job. So the way it worked for me in that scenario was I had to get a USL&H insurance coverage for that one job. And it didn't matter if we were working above the waterway or not, but everything that happened on that one job fell under the USL&H coverage.
Even the fabrication shop.
In the shop here still fell under that coverage. And for that one job, it was like a $15,000 insurance coverage or insurance premium for that one job.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. So apparently the claims are pretty intense on that stuff. I don't know, but
just airports, waterways, anything that sounds.
What about the train bridge? I had to do anything
train
special for
yeah,
that.
train tracks, anything like that freaks the insurance company out.
We don't know.
I don't know what you're talking about, Zach. I'm sorry.
Oh, that wasn't you guys.
No.
Okay, all right.
That was that other.
I didn't work here then.
But
I
have you
just saw.
have you ever had to
some-
buy a railroad protective policy?
I don't think we ever have, because I think that's only if you're working inside the railroad right away or
Or-
like on the tracks or something like that, right?
Or if the owner of the project requires
Well,
you?
yeah, that too.
Yeah.
But man, they put all kinds of stuff in those things
Yeah.
in a contract. Like
They get
we
good-
haven't really talked about that, but like you need to be careful about signing contracts. Make sure you review them. And insurance is one of those things. I personally send every contract I get to an insurance professional. And I'm like, hey, can you take a look at this and make sure we're good? And they, man,
Dang.
it never fails. They go
I
through.
thought
and,
you were just reading all those and approving them.
no,
Well, also, I use that as
I just been sending them to you.
I
yeah,
use that as like an educational tool for, let's just say, medium-sized fence company.
right.
Because how much? I mean, you subcontract work out, right?
We hire subs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of listeners of this podcast probably hire subs, right?
Right.
Which brings a whole nother, item to the table here.
Right.
Because basically, if they're on your project and they're a subcontractor, they're under you,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I would say, you go to a huge GC and are doing a job for them, and they're asking you to sign a subcontractor agreement that basically gives your family away.
Yeah.
In the subcontractor agreement, I would ask you, why do you think they're doing that?
Mhm.
And then apply that to your own subcontractors and think, don't you think you should take some notes from the people that have millions and millions
Right.
of dollars with a lawyer fees, expense to make that contract out? Don't you think you should maybe think,
What's that saying? Plagiarism is the highest form of flattery.
yeah,
Is that right?
it's like take notes from them.
Yeah.
And because, the medium-sized fence contractor will be like, oh, we got their COI.
Right.
We don't need to have a subcontractor agreement. And then at the same time, they're going on a job with a huge GC that's requiring everything under the moon,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not making their own sub sign anything.
Yeah.
It's like, just think about that.
Right.
Maybe take some lessons from the big GC.
You got a notepad?
Right. I need to pull over. Could you
Right.
repeat that, please, Charlie?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. Like, you ever think about why are they doing that?
Yeah.
And see, I'm always just like, that crap's in there because it happened to somebody one time in Timbuktu, and now it's got to be in every contract.
Right.
That's kind of the reaction I typically have to these 600-page long contracts.
Which is true. That is
Yeah.
true. But, I see so many like mid-sized companies that they're like, oh, my subs would never sign that. And it's like, well, maybe they shouldn't be your subs.
Mm,
And they're like, well, I got nobody else. But it's like, okay, well, how much risk do you want to take?
yeah.
Which is the same for people that just started working and don't have insurance at all.
Yeah. So let's say hypothetically, let's run through this scenario. This is cool. So we're doing a job for a general contractor. We hire a sub. All right. Our sub is out there doing something, and they, I don't know, blow up the SR-71. Right. And so there's a $50 million claim or whatever. So they're going to go through the sub's insurance first or our insurance first. Who's primary?
I would say the primary would be the sub.
Would be the sub,
Yeah.
and then us.
The person that did it.
And then if their insurance, their liability or umbrella doesn't cover the damage, then the next guy up is responsible. That's so
Well,
the reason.
we're in America. Everybody's getting sued.
Oh yeah,
Right,
They're
right.
they're
So
passing out lawsuits
yeah.
like hotcakes, man.
Everyone's going to be the first person. And
Well, there was some language like that in one of the last contracts we looked at.
So there's a whole thing, primary non-contributory.
Right.
Yeah.
Those words came up.
Yeah.
well, I mean, waiver of subrogation,
Waiver of subrogation.
which is, you understand that, right?
Mm,
Okay, so like, you're on a job site, the general contractor is requiring you issue a waiver of subrogation while you're on their job site.
Yeah.
That means that you're waiving your insurance company's rights to subrogate if the general contractor's if the general contractor does something wrong,
We did talk about
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, we
because
did.
we saw it in the contract.
like, and
I
one of
told
your
you.
like the general contractor does something that causes your employee to get injured,
Mm.
like whatever that may be.
Our insurance is still responsible.
Well, typically what would happen is your workers' comp company would pay the claim
And then sue.
and then go back and try to sue them.
Yeah.
Because it was their fault.
But with that
When you go
waiver,
out on the waiver of subrogation,
yeah. So
your
what-
insurance company's paying it.
So what I told Zach
Dang.
was, I was like, basically the way it's set up in a lot of these contracts is like everyone else's insurance is exhausted before it ever touches the general contractor.
Right.
That's right.
So
So I guess the answer to that question would just be it depends on the contract.
mm, oh, that's in those contracts, and I mean it's in a ton of them, and you can sign it. So this is like an interesting conversation. I would really like to have a general contractor and put them in the hot seat and be like, what happens if I don't sign that contract? If I say, nope, I'm not going to do it. And my opinion, I think there's some stuff that they're going to let you not sign and redline and all of that.
Right. We talked a little bit about that before.
Yep.
That's
And
very common.
100% you can try it. Right. But I think when you're dealing with big general contractors, and I think they have floor 7, 8, 9, and 10 in their building are all lawyers, I don't think they're going to sign it. And I think they're just going to say no, and they're going to move on to the next person. But the question is, how much risk is that job worth?
That's right.
Right.
So
So
we
if
get
you,
the dummy who didn't read the contract and we'll hire him.
I had a guy, I promise you, a
That's
general
right.
contractor that I know told me that exact same thing. He said, these big boys put whatever they want in there, and there's some stupid person in the world that'll sign it.
That's
Mm.
right.
But he's like, get that freaking red pen out and go to town if
Right.
you don't want to sign it like that.
Right. New guy. Just got my policy, whatever. I'm just excited to
Oh,
get
it's
out
my
there
first
and get
job.
going.
I'm
Dude,
just
20,
so
$250 million contract. Yes.
right.
Well, I mean, I have customers all the time that'll be bidding on a job. They'll send me the contract and they'll say, Charlie, do I have everything here?
Yeah.
And if I don't, how much does it cost
Yeah.
to satisfy this whole contract? And then I'll tell them how much it would cost. And then they are like, wow, that's $78,000. And I'll be like, you should call them and just see if all this is necessary.
Mhm.
And they'll call them and say, actually, we don't need all that. We're good. Or they'll say, we don't even want to do this job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
You know the job we're doing that has the weird name?
Couple of weird names.
Yeah. So that was a situation like that. And I'll tell you what.
For a second, I thought you wanted me to remind you what it
No,
was
no, no,
called.
no,
and
no,
I was
no,
like, no. He's trying to use some kind of discretion
Right.
here.
So
Whew.
So the job is the bottom of the fence is like 92 feet in the air, and it's on the top of an acid treatment facility, right? So it's like one of these kind of
A
like
scene out of a
skeleton.
Batman movie.
So pollution insurance.
It's like a skeletonized building with like some giant smokestacks and pipes and tanks and all this stuff all in it, right? And so they had a crazy insurance requirement. Of course, it never came up throughout the entire process until it came time for them to send me a contract. And I looked at it and I just sent it over to the insurance folks. I was like, all right, give me a price on satisfying this. And I went back to them. I was like, all right, you can add this much money to my contract if
Yeah.
that's what you want.
Yeah, people do that all the time.
And they said, never mind, we'll let you get by without it. And so that's a legit tactic that maybe is, I don't know if that's less aggressive than just taking your red crayon and coloring the whole paper, but like it maybe is a better approach.
Yeah, I mean, people will, they'll factor whatever the additional cost is.
Yeah.
Their contract.
Yeah. But if you have a full set of bid documents when you bid that job and it was included in the project manual or the specs or whatever, guess what? That's on you.
Yeah. Then
You didn't look at it, you didn't pay attention to it, and you got time to sign the contract, and then you want to look at it? Like, no, it doesn't work like that.
Mm.
Yeah, and then that's usually the insurance agent's fault too, and it costs money.
Well, maybe.
No, I'm just saying the customer will not be happy with you, and it's like,
Yeah.
well, you should have read your contract.
Right. That's right.
And a lot of those contracts will say, like, if it's a pollution policy and you got to have pollution for this one job, which it'll say you got to carry it for 3 more years after the completion
yeah.
of the job.
Yep.
And so they'll call and say, hey, like, we finished that job, let's cancel the pollution policy.
And
I'll say, I'll be like, your contract says you got to keep it for 3 more years.
That's
So
crazy.
that's the same thing with that waiver of subrogation,
Yeah.
right? You got to carry that for years after the end of the project too.
And every project has a different.
I think we have like 30 waiver of subrogation sitting on our policy right now. I'm like, I don't even know when I'm allowed to cancel these things. And
Yeah.
so like you have to go So my advice on the proper way to handle that would be figure out a system to make note of when you're allowed to cancel that and then cancel it at that time. And so what I'm really bad about doing is just being like, oh, we got to have it now and we got to have it for 3 years. Well, guess what? 4 or 5 years later, it's still sitting on my policy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I
It's
don't
like
know.
the average person's Netflix subscription or whatever. You got
Right,
like
that's right.
you could buy AMC so you could watch some specific TV show and now forgot.
That's right.
That's
And-
But it's to the tune of thousands of dollars.
It's
right.
actually pretty. I'm gonna start using that. It's actually
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
All of the counsel on the show is free. After the show, though, I do charge hourly.
All right.
So
Oh,
What we should charge on the show. Wait a minute.
too late.
Okay. All right. So what are factors that play into pricing different types of insurance? Like we've talked about the loss run. So obviously that's like,
that's big.
response number one.
Yeah.
But are there other factors outside of your losses that kind of play into the price of it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
All right, moving on.
Yes.
I mean, what I always tell clients, let's just say I'm meeting with a potential client, and they're like, they're just like they don't want to give me too much. They're trying to, they're kind of, putting up the cold shoulder, and I'm like, I'll say, look, what I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to paint a picture
Right.
of your company to the insurance company, and the better, are we out?
Now we're good. You can keep rolling.
The better picture I paint to the insurance company, the better deal you're going to get.
Right.
So,
Right.
So I was like, if you have safety meetings, tell me about it.
More detailed you are about your business, material safety data sheets, all
Like-
those types of
like-
things.
Yeah, because an underwriter, insurance is a bet, right?
Sure.
The insurance company is saying whatever price they give you is
We're going to take a risk on this business that
Whatever,
they
but-
don't lose this fight, kind
yeah,
of.
there's
Which,
like if they price your insurance at $10,000 a year, they're saying that we think we can make money on this account
Right.
for $10,000,
sure.
right? So
Which ultimately means 0 claims that year. I mean,
I mean, if you make like 4,000, your $4,000 claim, they probably came
I
out.
guess I'm thinking super small picture because I'm thinking just Memphis Fence Company, right?
So yeah, so if you're paying $100,000 in insurance and you're
Sure.
you're having $20,000 give or take a year,
And then you have 10 of those clients,
That's-
or so to speak, then there you go. That's how the money's made.
well, the money's made by the premiums being higher than the losses.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So like if you're an underwriter at a desk, which I guess that was one of the people we need to learn about.
Yeah.
Underwriter is the person at the insurance company that accepts the applications to quote, and they underwrite it.
Right.
They say they're going to get on Google and they're going to look your company up, and they're going to get on Google Maps and look at your property, and they're going to get on Facebook and see if you have a Facebook where you're, see what kind of, and everybody every contractor puts the craziest job they've ever done on their website, which the underwriter's like, are they really doing this?
Right.
It's like, no, they did it one time and they're really proud of it, and this is on their website.
Well, that's a good point because, we mentioned supplementing your policy and adding things that are required. I did do some work at a hospital and they wanted some more insurance that I didn't have. So that kind of thing. And then, of course, that was the job that was on the front page of the website. The
Yeah.
one that's on a
Yeah.
5-story balcony that has some, fall risk and some stuff overhead and that kind of thing. So,
And that's with a lot of contractors.
Right.
They want to put their craziest job they ever did right on their website. And
Hey.
so if an insurance company is like, oh, we just got a submission for whatever fence company,
sure.
and then we see, oh, they're
Let's look at their website.
and they're like, they're doing what?
Right. Putting a fence above an acid plant.
Yeah, exactly.
Is this their specialty? So we're going to underwrite this now. Right.
Yeah, then
So-
we have to go back and be like, well, they did it one time, and they're not planning on ever doing that again.
Right. Hence the importance of that exchange you mentioned where you're not trying to pry. You just need to know the information to get us the best policy.
Yeah, I
basically.
mean, the more information that you can get, the better deal you can get.
Right.
Because here's what it boils down to with the underwriter. The underwriter can pretty much
We're good.
You guys-
We have like a chat where we can all see what she texts us
ah,
sometimes, so
got it.
it's all good. Sorry,
Well, the underwriter could
it looks like something really bad's happening or something. It's not.
She was laughing at me fiddling with my headphones. So
sorry. Well, basically, like I was explaining to him that it was a bet. But insurance is a bet that they're going to make money on you for a certain price, right?
Yeah.
So if you're an underwriter and you're just cheap as possible, and
wait, what's an underwriter?
I explained it.
Oh, okay, sorry.
But
It's the person who assesses your risk, basically. The one that looks at the website.
and they price they do the pricing of the quotes. But what I was going to say is the underwriter can, if they wanted to write every account, they could, because you just write the cheapest possible rate every time.
Mm-hmm.
But here's why they don't do that, because you write everything cheap, and then all of a sudden you're costing the insurance company tons of money because like,
Is there
why did you write?
insurance?
They're like, why did you write this? Why did you write that?
This is totally off subject, but does the underwriter have underwriters insurance for the policies that they write? I mean, it's a kind of a weird thing.
No, but the insurance companies have insurance for their. It's called reinsurance, which is reinsurance is going up right now too. So that's another reason why insurance rates are going up, because the insurance companies, if you own an insurance company, you pay for reinsurance. So like
right.
certain, an insurance company say we pay the first $25 million of every claim, but if it's over 25 million, then the reinsurance pays it. But that's another rabbit hole.
So I put a note in here, and I was like, this is going to be a brief overview. And we talked about this because an hour is not even really going to like scratch the surface in the insurance world. And here we are proving that fact.
We're at an hour?
We can keep going.
But
we are at an hour to answer your question.
Yeah.
But the point I was previously making about how to make your insurance cheaper,
right,
is you got to provide the agent who can then provide the underwriter with safety information, anything you can give the agent to give the insurance company, because what happens
all
is
the pretty things,
anything, the nice, whatever you've got safety wise, fleet safety, anything like that, give it to the agent, because what happens is the insurance company writes it for really cheap, right? Let's just say they write it for really cheap, but the underwriter has all these attachments in the file showing how safe they are and how good of a company they are. If their boss comes up behind them, it's like, why did you write this account? They just got a $3 million claim. And they look at the file and they're like, well, I mean,
looked good
based on these files.
Looked like a viable bet.
This is a good, but if there's nothing in there and they're writing it for really cheap, they're probably going to get fired.
Sure.
Yeah.
So what I tell people, give me stuff I can have the underwriter put in their file.
Sure.
So if something bad happens, they're comfortable.
But don't lie.
But
right.
don't lie.
Transparency,
Don't lie about
honesty, integrity, and transparency.
So I think we talked about this a little bit with the banker, but two people that I always try to be honest with is the insurance company and the banker.
That's right.
And just I kind of like air the
That's
good,
kinda
bad, and
cool.
the
That'd
ugly.
be a good topic to talk about safety practices and those types of things.
Yeah, safety's a big deal.
Thanks for the.
I got a guy I could probably. I got a guy you could get on the show. I think he's got his own show. You know Rick Black?
Yeah. He has a show.
I believe he does.
Hmm.
But I bet he'd come on here anytime.
Interesting.
I bet he would come on here anytime.
Yeah.
He'd be good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that's what we need to do.
You got that? Rick Black?
Rick Black. All right. So we talked a little bit about how the insurance market is pretty tough right now, right? Prices are going up. And I heard a story the other day about people getting renewals that were up like 40 and 50%. Crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So that is typically described to me as being a hard market, right?
Yeah.
Do you use that terminology?
Yeah.
A hard market and a soft market.
We're in it right now.
So what can you give us a little explanation of that?
That means that insurance companies are losing money left and right.
Mm.
And they basically are happy to lose business right now.
Yeah.
Because the more business they lose, or the more business they don't write, the less opportunity they have to lose money from losses.
Mm.
So everybody pulls back where they say, oh yeah, we're taking a 40-50% increase. They don't care if they lose it at that point.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying we'll write it at 50% increase.
Right.
Which in a lot of cases, they probably don't even want to write it still.
Right.
But they're like, if
We do that. They're
You
like,
got a job
we,
you don't want to do.
we don't really want this job, but we'll do it for this much
That's
money.
that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
But they're also like far more than there's ever. And I've been in the business for 11 years, so I've never seen a market like this. But you just get so many non-renewals right
Last time it was this way was 1986,
now. Okay,
is what I was told. So
I mean,
that was before I was born. And
Same
so
here.
obviously I can't speak to that, but
yeah, but a lot. I mean, insurance is hard to place right now.
Yeah.
Like I would say 7 years ago, I could go meet with a company and get 12 quotes. Right now, you're just trying to get it placed.
Yeah.
Like it's tough right now
Mm.
because
So if you
because when they're losing money already, it's just hard to convince them to write something new.
so if your loss runs are bad, now's a tough time to be trying to find insurance.
And the auto insurance, I mean, property's bad right now too. Like they don't not like old buildings.
That's all I have.
They want your
This is brand new right,
That's right.
here.
This backdrop is
The
brand new.
table.
well, I mean, they
We
want
built it within the last 5 years.
yeah, they want new roofs. They want to make sure you're updating your building, or they don't want it at all. Because I mean, we've had so many tornadoes that these old buildings that are not in good shape, they just take a beating. And
Isn't that crazy? Which that has kind of spiked in the last year, right? Over your 11 years. I mean,
tornadoes.
Yeah,
that's
kind
two
of
or 3 years.
right.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Y'all heard about Hart? Oh, never
I
mind.
mean, and
We can't go down that path.
Oh.
Memphis actually.
I held some people hostage the other day, retelling them about that.
Did you
Yeah.
really?
We'll tell you about it later.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Memphis is somehow avoids a lot of tornadoes, but like like we talked about earlier with the pooling,
Mm-hmm.
like Nashville has gotten hit hard.
Uh-huh.
We're in the same state.
Covington.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've
Yeah.
been up there, but
Millington.
So our insurance rates or premiums are higher because of tornadoes in Nashville.
so but is it nationwide or is it regional?
Both.
Both.
Every insurance company makes their own decisions.
Okay, so maybe along those same lines, tell us a little bit about like the state kind of regulates workers' comp rates to some extent.
They set the base rates,
So where does the state get the information to set those rates?
the profitability of the workers' comp companies.
So the workers' comp companies report to the state, and then the state uses that to
Which is
set the.
like
So
a-
the government is telling us how much we have to pay for workers' comp.
They're setting a baseline.
Okay. Right.
But like every
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
every work comp company has loss cost multipliers, which is a bunch. They all have a bunch of different work comp writing companies.
Mm.
So
Just imagine like a bunch of cockroaches at typewriters. Just
I mean, like when we're like competing with other people's work comp companies, we just go to the Tennessee loss cost multiplier list because it has a list. It's like every single work comp company LCM.
Mhm.
So you'll say, Memphis Fences, whatever, with whatever insurance company. So you can just go look at the list and get an idea of pretty close how much they're paying. And so you're like, I'm going to beat that price. I got to put it with a company that's got a lower loss cost multiplier.
Ooh, so we can talk about something fun. So if you're getting a quote from two different agents, okay, two different companies.
Yeah.
So there's a thing where the first one to company XYZ represents company XYZ, right? And the second agent cannot get a quote from that same company.
That's right.
Yeah, so that's an interesting thing that happens in the insurance world.
Yes. Then you get into agent of record letter wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
wow.
So you then can like sign. So me as the insured, I can then sign a letter that like gives you the ability to get.
You can sign a letter saying which agent you want to get that quote.
Yeah.
And there's so
That's
many.
a real awkward thing for me when I got two people calling like, I want to get a quote from these people. No, I want to. And I'm like, I just want a quote. Like, I don't know.
There's a lot of games.
Yeah.
There's a lot of games.
I will say it. So I told you earlier, insurance salespeople are the most persistent. Getting a quote on insurance sucks the worst, I think. Like it's such a process to go through and do all the applications and all of that kind of stuff. It's a pain in the butt too.
So you entered into the what you want more from your agent, not you as an agent, but we're kind of doing this. What do we want from bankers? What do we want from insurance agents? What do we want from vendors, as a whole? And then we allow the vendor, being you, to tell us what we can do better as insured. Like,
Yeah.
what do you need from us? You did mention like tell you a lot of stuff about the business. The more information, the better, basically.
Yeah, and then I mean, like, let's just say you write a new account, a new fence company. They're going to have loss control, and the loss control will come meet with Dan or whoever the owner may be, and they're going to come up with recommendations.
Mhm.
And they're going to say, we want you to do this, we want you to do that. I mean, in my shoes, all the time, the customer just does not get that information back to us, and then all of a sudden we're getting non-renewed, and we're having so a good customer would, when they get those loss control recommendations, they just do them.
And could you give us a couple examples of those loss control recommendations?
I
Like
mean, they'll say
forklift certification, is that one?
could be
example?
the fire extinguisher hasn't been serviced in 7 years. There's a burn pile out behind your building.
Wait, did you look out back?
What burn pile?
Yeah.
What building?
Yeah. There's fascia growing on your,
Yeah.
I mean, just get it removed. I mean, it would be a good customer would do those things.
Sure.
Or-
I'm thinking of the shop, like exposed cords on grinders,
Yeah,
guards
there's-
on grinders.
Yeah, they go to a job site and they see your, guy doing something they shouldn't be doing.
Surfing on top of the skid steer with his shirt off.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden,
It's a good idea.
exactly. So, those are just basic problems that never stop because
So do that.
'Cause-
Be proactive about satisfying those requests.
that would be a good one for me. Because it's like we're constantly like, hey, like I know you got those loss control recs. They're like, yeah, I haven't even looked at it yet. I'm like,
You gave me what I needed and I got the job now. I'm not worried about that anymore.
So I will say, from our perspective, it's hard, man. It's hard to do that stuff
Oh, yeah.
because, like,
you gotta get a contractor. You gotta, who knows what.
I mean, we got to sit down and spend like all day long trying to answer questions or fill out forms or hire people or whatever that, like, we really don't understand what's going on. And then at the same time, we have people calling us like, hey, do you want some money to come install a fence for me? And I mean, normally that guy's going to get priority over filling out some form I don't understand.
Yeah, look
So,
out, contractor. We got to do loss prevention
yeah,
analysis.
that's right.
or whatever-
I can't
whatever
quote
it's
your
called.
job today.
No, I totally get it. You guys were asking.
Yeah.
I'll shut up so we're not ganging up. I'm going to
Like-
be.
Like I'm not. I don't disagree with you. You were asking what would make my life easier.
No. I know.
How dare you, Charlie? We're busy. Nobody asked you. Wait a minute. Yeah, we did.
I completely understand, and I know it's something important, and I know it's something that we should all take seriously. For real.
Yeah,
I
man.
mean, but I'm just saying, like, from our perspective, it's hard whenever the phone's ringing and somebody's like, hey, I need a quote on this. I need this done. I need that.
Yeah.
It makes it tough, but it's
Yeah.
hard to prioritize. Right.
Well, what happens is they get a notice of cancellation in the mail, and then all of a sudden they do it really fast.
Yeah. Then it becomes a priority.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And then
You're like, oh,
And then it
y'all,
get-
y'all weren't kidding.
oh,
Like,
yeah,
all
then
right.
it takes 30 seconds, and it's like, oh. And
Yeah,
now, and then we got to worry about getting it reinstated. Where if
Mm.
you just did it originally,
Mm-hmm.
Well, and you just mentioned too the days where you could just get reinstated, or that may not be a possibility. So
yeah,
if we
so-
can get canceled now,
yeah, in a hard market, you definitely wanted to.
stay up to date.
Oh yeah, they're not messing around right now. They're not.
So I went down this path one time. I thought I wanted to buy a drone. All right.
Yeah,
Did I tell you this story?
you did.
Yeah. Yeah. So I thought I talked to you about that drone.
Yeah.
So I thought I wanted to get a drone. And, you have to get licensed by the FAA, and there's like a whole process on that side of it, which, I mean, that's fine. I was aware of all of that and everything, but the drone is like, $1,000, right? $1,200, something like that. And I'm like, me being me, if I have any kind of crazy plans, which I have frequently, have these wild ideas.
Like a podcast.
Yeah, no, that's not even wild. Like getting a drone, or like I don't know. Anyway, so I was gonna get this drone.
Couple of old buildings. I mean, new buildings.
Yeah, that's right. Let's become commercial landlords like and buy these super old buildings. Yeah,
New, super new buildings,
Oh,
super
right.
renovated, super safe buildings.
right. They have all the latest technology. It's great.
Safety
Um,
logs at each doorway.
Right. You have to take your shoes off even.
That's unsafe, actually, I think.
No, we have, those little booties. We have steel toe booties. So anyways, was going to buy a drone. All right. And like I said, $1,000, $1,200 drone, whatever. So I go out, get some quotes on this insurance for the drone. $12,000 a year to have insurance on a drone. And I said, what? The drone? It's like a 7-ounce drone that costs $1,000 that I want to fly to take a picture of a fence. Yeah, 12,000 a year. It's like, golly, that's crazy. So
Oh,
Right,
sound like those.
You probably get a discount if you got 2 drones.
yeah, right. Or maybe if when I filled out the application, they're like, how much drone flying experience do you have? And I put 0. That maybe played a role in it too. But so that's kind of a weird thing. That's almost like the chicken or the egg deal. Like, well, how am
How
I
do I
going to
fly
get
a drone?
experience without having? Are you
Yeah.
requesting that I go
Fly
do
a
it
drone
uninsured?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that, well, that leads you to new ventures
Mhm.
because if they can't get lost runs, what do? They need to have a good resume,
Right.
which sounds, crazy, or, I'm not applying for a job, but you're applying for insurance and you don't have any experience owning a business. Why would an insurance company want to write you right off the street?
Right.
I'll give them a resume saying I worked for this fence company for 6 years and I worked for this one for 8 years and I've got a lot of experience, and you have a good story, you can get written. But if you're like, I just, I've never built a fence in my life, but I want to get,
Yeah, I want to go sell this $3 million job. Can you give me insurance for it?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's not going to happen.
Well, I think we're at an hour and 16 minutes. I think we just wrap it up.
That went by fast.
Yeah, it does. It goes by fast. And like, there's a ton of stuff in here that I had written down that we never even talked about. So maybe one day we can do round 2 and revisit and cover the rest of it. But
I guess we could just pick a specific topic next time.
no, I think,
Or, I mean, general.
I mean, the intention of this was to just kind of give an overview and some information. I think we accomplished what we came here to do.
I really
Tip of the
appreciate-
iceberg.
Right. Yeah, no, you're right. And I appreciate each show is kind of like makes each person necessary for the process of becoming a commercial contractor. Each part of that is a little bit more accessible and kind of relatable. You get to, because really me, when I started business, I needed an insurance agent. I had no idea. And I basically did that, a resume.
Yeah.
I'd worked at Memphis Fence Company doing this type of work for this period of time. And that's basically what I provided them. And
Yeah.
it's kind of
a new venture needs to tell a story.
right. Tell the story.
That kind of scared me. I was confused.
Oh, because he's tells stories. Got it. Well, you probably got a good rate at then if you're a big storyteller.
Look, come on in, Charlie. Let me tell you all about it. I was born in a small town just outside of Memphis, Tennessee.
Hit that mute button. All right.
Dude, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. It's been awesome. So
That's
one more
fun.
time, some contact information for anybody who's still listening.
901-755-5526.
The name of the agency
PCR Insurance.
And your first and last name, please.
Charlie Pittard.
and what's your date of birth?
121.
No.
Charlie Prittard, everybody.
Let-
Thanks
let
for
get on my
coming on the
set.
show, man. All right, everybody. Where are we at? Here we are. There you guys are. Thanks for
Oh,
joining back
yeah.
in, joining
Bye.
joining us, watching, tuning in, zooming in, whatever you're doing. Zach and I'm back. Sorry I missed y'all last week. And that'll be it. That's cute. I'm trying to close the show. I can't do it without the microphone. All right, man.
Thanks,
Zach
everyone.
Shute,
See you
Dan
next
Tuberville
time.
signing off for PowerHouse Fence Show.
See ya.